Hi everyone. So in this video you're going to learn the most common faults on failed laptops. We're going to discuss about the power jack faults, the battery faults, the BIOS faults and the power management IC faults, etc. So let's get started. So the most common faults on failed laptops. So let's begin with the first fault, the power jack fault. So as you know, the power jack is among the common faults that every technician can encounter in a failed motherboard. So you should always check whether you have a good power jack or not. You should check the power jack terminals. Is it connected to the motherboard or not? So the second fault is the power adapter. So basically, the power adapter is the first thing that you should check before diving into troubleshooting any motherboard. So you should always check whether you get a 19 volt, 20 volt, etc. in the power adapter or not. So the third failure is the random access memory or RAM. So basically this is one of the most common faults in any computer. So sometimes you can get nothing is in the screen. In this state you should check the RAMs. Maybe the RAMs are not connected correctly to the motherboard. So I want to add that there is many types of RAMs. So we're gonna say the types of RAMs and the working voltage for each RAM. For example, for DDR1 we have the working voltage is 2.5 volts. For DDR2 the working voltage is 1.8 volts. For DDR3 the working voltage is 1.5 volts. For DDR4 the working voltage is 1.2 volts. And for DDR5, the working voltage is 1.1 volts. So you can find these voltages in the RAM slots in the motherboard, as you can see here in the image. So the fourth failure is the bended pins. This is basically a very common fault in any electronic device. So a bended pin is when you have a damaged pin. You should always pay attention to connector motherboard, especially USB connectors. If you have a bended pin, the motherboard can be shorted. So bended pins is the cause of the short circuit in every motherboard. So you should always do a visual inspection before proceeding to troubleshoot the motherboard. So I will give you an example. For example, here we have a connector with 3 pins. So basically this is a good connector, okay? We have here 3 pins. Here we have another connector where we will draw a bended pin, as you can see. So you have basically 3 pins, but the third pin is bended. Here we have a short circuit basically. So for example, the third pin is VCC and the second one is the ground. Here we have a short circuit. Okay, so you should always pay attention to bended pins in every motherboard. So basically this is one of the common faults in the laptop motherboards and even computer motherboard. Okay, so the next failure is USB connectors. Basically here we have the same working principle as the bended pins. As you know, the USB connectors composed of 4 pins. Okay, basically USB connectors or any motherboard ports. Okay, you should apply this rule. So the USB connector contains 4 pins basically. So let's draw a USB connector right here, as you can see. So let's draw the 4th connector or 4 pins. as you can see. So basically the pin in the right is for VCC, okay, as you can see. Okay, here we have VCC, and basically for USB we have 5 volt. Always in the right pin of the USB connector we have 5 volt. So the pin in the left is connected to the ground, as you can see, and here in the middle we have 2 pins. So the pin next to the VCC is -D, and the pin next to the ground is +D. Here these 2 pins are for data. If you want to transfer, for example, files between USB and the motherboard, these 2 pins are responsible for transferring information. Okay? So if you have any bended pin here, you will get a short circuit, and then the motherboard will be failed. So pay attention to USB connectors. So the next failure is the graphic card. Basically, this is a very common fault in every laptop, okay? Especially in old laptops. So if you have a problem of the graphic card, you will get a black screen, okay? A black screen. So the next failure is the charge IC or the power management IC. This is the IC that is responsible for the power in the whole motherboard, okay? The power management IC is the responsible for powering the motherboard. So let's assume that we have here an IC. This is basically the charge IC. Here we have some capacitors, some ceramic capacitors connected to this IC in one terminal and to the ground in the other terminal. So if you have any shorted ceramic capacitor here, as you can see, means the IC is bad. Okay, so this is basically a rule. Any shorted ceramic capacitor near to the IC equal or means the IC is shorted. You should replace it automatically. You know why? Because these ceramic capacitors are connected to the ground in one side, as you can see, and connected to the IC in the other side. So if you get a shorted capacitor, means the IC is bad. Okay? Means the IC is connected to the ground, then bad IC. The next failure is the short circuit. So here I have a question. How can we identify the short circuit in the motherboard? Easy, using the inductor. Okay, so the inductor basically, or coils, are the component that shows to us where is the short circuit in the motherboard. I'll show you how. You can never find inductors or coils connected to the ground in any motherboard. Always the inductors are connected to the power rail in the motherboard. So let's, for example, draw a circuit. Here we have an IC. We have, as you can see here, 2 MOSFETs, and we have inductor, and here we have the 3.3 volt. Basically, this is the 3.3 volt circuit. So this MOSFET is connected, as you can see here, to 90 volt, as you can see, in each drain. And each source will be connected, for example, to the drain of the second MOSFET, as you can see. Okay, so here we have the upper gate, here the control signal from the IC for the first MOSFET, and here we have the control signal for the second MOSFET, or the lower gate, and the source of the second IC Q2 is connected to the ground. So here we will get the power, the 3.3 volt. So as you can see here we have the inductor. So basically here the inductor is connected to the power rail, as you can see. You can never, as I told you before, you can never find an inductor in any computer motherboard connected to the ground. Never. So here basically we have some filtering capacitors. As you can see, we have two capacitors, one ceramic capacitor and the other is polarized capacitor or electrolytic capacitor. So if you get any short here, as you can see, means automatically that you have this ceramic capacitors, one of these ceramic capacitors is shorted, or the MOSFET is shorted, or the IC is shorted. So you should check the short circuit in the inductor. If you get any short circuit, means you have one of this component is shorted. Ceramic capacitors or electrolytic capacitor, MOSFET or IC. Okay? A short circuit means a low resistance. If you use the multimeter and you check between the inductor and the ground and you get a low resistance, means you have a short circuit. So now let's pass to the next failure, the super IO or super input output. So basically this big IC that has about 128 pins is also one of the ICs in the motherboard that is responsible for the power. Okay, basically it is a big power management IC that is responsible for the power management. So basically if you have a problem in this IC, the motherboard can be a dead motherboard. So you should also check the ceramic capacitors around this IC. If you find any shorted capacitor, means automatically this IC is bad. The next failure is the protection components, including diodes, fuses, and sometimes ceramic capacitors, etc. So basically these protection components, we find it in the motherboard near to the power jack. Okay, near to the power jack you will find the protection components. Here, for example, this is a power jack connector. Here we have a diode. Okay, here we have a diode. This is one of protection components. For this motherboard, for example, near to the power jack, as you can see, near to the power jack, as you can see, we have this. This is basically a fuse. So if you have any failed protection component, the motherboard will be a dead motherboard. So I will explain to you. So here, for example, let's assume we have a power jack. We have here, as you can see, 19 volts, and we have the ground in the other wires. The 19 volt will be passed through a fuse. The first protection component is a fuse. And here we have a diode, another protection component. Basically here we have a double protection, as you can see. So when, for example, the 19 volt is increased above the limit, automatically the fuse will be blown out. Okay? And then it will protect the motherboard. If the fuse doesn't blown out, the diode will be blown out. As you can see here, we have a double protection. Then the motherboard circuit will be protected. So always, if you get a dead or a failed motherboard, you should check the component near to the power jack, especially fuses and diodes. So the next failure is the CMOS battery. So this battery can cause a dead motherboard. If you have an old battery or an expired battery, it can cause a dead motherboard. So the next failure is the HDD or SSD. So HDD means the hard disk drive and SSD means the solid state drive. Basically SSD is an improved disk drive. So, okay, for the HDD, if it is not connected correctly to the motherboard, it can cause the problem. Okay. The next failure is a dry soldering. As you can see here in the image, this is basically a dry soldering. If you have any dry soldering in the motherboard can be failed or a dead motherboard. You should always check all terminals in the motherboard, especially for the power jack. or power connector. Here basically this is a good soldering. If you find any dry soldering, you should make another good soldering. So the next failure is the blown components. This is why you should always begin with the visual inspection. As you can see here in the image, this is an example of blown components. It can be a MOSFET, an IC, etc. So you should always begin with the visual inspection. Before doing anything in the motherboard, you should begin with the visual inspection to see if you have any bad component or not, using just your eyes. So the next failure is the power switch. Okay, the power switch, or basically the power button. So this power switch can be the cause of a bad motherboard. You know why? Because sometimes you press the power switch but no response. You know why? Because the 3.3 volt is not in the power switch. You should always check whether you have the 3.3 volt in one terminal of the power switch or not, because the power switch has two terminals, one connected to 3.3 volt power rail and the other to the ground. If you don't have 3.3 volt, you cannot get any response even if you press the power switch of the laptop. So the next fault is the electrostatic. This is one of very important faults that everyone should pay attention. So to remove the electrostatic, you should remove the battery and the power adapter and press the power button until you discharge the whole motherboard. Okay, and then try to power on the laptop. The next failure is switches or MOSFETs. So basically here I mean the two MOSFETs next to the power jack in the beginning of the motherboard. Here, for example, we have an example. We have the 19 volt from the power jack, and here we have two MOSFETs. And here we have plus VBAT that will be applied to the whole motherboard. So here we have 19 volt should pass through these two MOSFETs. If you have any failed MOSFET here, the 19 volt will stop passing to the motherboard, and then you will get a dead motherboard. So you should check whether these two MOSFETs are good or not. You will find these MOSFETs near to the power jack. So basically this is the last failure, the laptop battery issue. Sometimes the laptop can cause a failed motherboard. That's why you should always remove the battery and use just the power adapter to power the laptop. Sometimes the battery can cause a failed motherboard.